Hi everybody, my name is Adana and welcome to Secrets Unkept. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you why I canceled a $452 trip to Tokyo, Japan. I would have killed somebody. If you like learning about how to save money while you're traveling and how to spend your money while you're traveling, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell notification to know when we're posting, and please leave a comment in the comment section below to tell me your tips and tricks while you're traveling. In this video, I'll be going over several key points of this entire trip planning process. I will be going over how I planned this trip and what I was supposed to do while I was on this trip and how much everything cost. So I'm going to just start off in the beginning and it's a interesting story if I do say so myself. So basically I figured out the wonderful way of saving money on traveling, and I did so with this cute little subscription called Flight Glitch. They legit notify you every time that there's a glitch fare or a ridiculously low priced flight, and they'll let you know so you can grab onto it. Now you're probably wondering, what in the world is a glitch fare? So there's mistakes that airports make, airlines make. It happens quite often actually. And they might, instead of putting $800 for a flight, they might put it at $80 for a flight, and they will surprisingly honor those ridiculously low prices if you were to be one of those lucky ones to buy it at that time. Now, a lot of these glitches normally are only available for so long, so they'll give you a time frame for when they feel like they're going to notice that, oh, this isn't supposed to be the price for this particular flight, and change it back. But this company, Flight Glitch, will alert you every single time. They do have a free version and they have a paid premium subscription. I paid for a premium subscription and I believe it's like $25 or $30 for the entire year, and you honestly make your money back 3 times over with how much you save from these flights. Like legit, it's crazy. So I found this Flight Glitch and I was able to find a trip from Toronto to Tokyo, Japan. Now, Toronto is in Canada, and at the time I lived in Michigan. And you're probably wondering, why would you book a flight for a place that you don't live? Well, because I wanted to take advantage of the really low price of this particular flight, and I knew that Toronto was only a 4-hour drive away. So what I ended up doing was I needed to plan. I was hoping that more people would actually come on this trip with me, but as you can imagine, this was not an ordinary flight. It's very hard to find flights for Asia under $500. It's hard, not impossible, but they're normally a lot costlier, especially to Japan. And I was one of the lucky ones who was able to find a flight to Japan for $452. So I was really excited. I was really geeked. I was just like, yes, let me get it. And worst comes to worst, I have 24 hours to cancel it. And in the first 24 hours, I didn't find anyone to, come on the trip with me, which made me a little anxious, but I was just like, you know what, I have to just plan this by myself. So I went ahead, while I bought the ticket, I went ahead and purchased flight insurance, and it would honestly give me a flight credit if I couldn't make the trip. That's very important for this story. So I went ahead and was like, I have flight insurance, that's fine. It's travel insurance, that's fine. I am okay with just, planning this trip ahead. Worst comes to worst, I'll just have to cancel the trip. So I already had that in the back of my mind if something were to happen or I just didn't feel comfortable. So going ahead, I actually was looking around trying to figure out how to plan it. So one of my main obstacles was, how am I going to get to the Toronto airport from the Detroit area? And what I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Windsor first. I'm going to get dropped off at Windsor, take a bus from Windsor to Toronto, go to a nearby Starbucks, order an Uber because I didn't have roaming at the time, so I needed to make sure I had internet or Wi-Fi. So I can order an Uber. The Uber would drop me off at the airport and go to the airport. My flight path was supposed to go from Toronto to to DTW, which is funny because that was the airport I normally took. And then from DTW all the way over to Tokyo, Japan, NRT airport. And that was how it was gonna be. And it was just, I knew I had this planned out, but I was still very, hesitant. I just went on and I made sure that my planning was meticulous. One of the things I'm really afraid of when it comes to traveling, and at this time it was going to be traveling by myself, was getting lost. I did not want to be lost in a foreign country. It's not something I wanted to do. It was not going to be fun. Everything ended up becoming a little worse when I found out a week later that there was a flight from Detroit to Tokyo, Japan for $525. I was so upset with myself. I was so upset. And you're probably wondering, why didn't you just cancel your trip and, go with the Detroit flight? And the answer was because I would have only gotten a credit for that same airline, and the Detroit flight actually would have used a different airline, so I couldn't just cancel. I wish. I think that would have changed things greatly. So you're probably wondering, once I got to Tokyo, how was I going to move around if I didn't have Wi-Fi? Here's the thing. I already planned ahead for that particular situation. There are pocket Wi-Fis for, like, when you're traveling, you can either get a SIM card or get a pocket Wi-Fi, whichever one is most cost effective for you. I was going to get a pocket Wi-Fi because it was only 900 yen, which comes out to like about $9 a day. And it was like a no-brainer for me. I'm like, yes, I'm only there for a few days, and that's why I chose a pocket Wi-Fi over getting like a data plan while I was in Japan. Once I got to the airport, I was going to pick up my pocket Wi-Fi so that way I could use it immediately. I feel so nervous if I don't have internet connection because I can't see where I am. I can't contact anybody. It makes me a little frazzled, to say the least. I mapped out the airport so I knew exactly where I was going at the airport to get my pocket Wi-Fi. And once I had my pocket Wi-Fi, I knew I would feel 10 times better, even though I was gonna be by myself. All right, so once I was able to finally get my pocket Wi-Fi, I was able to get internet, and then I was able to look up everything that I needed to for the NRT Express from the station close to the airport to the station that was going to be close to my hotel. But before I could leave, I had to make sure I got a currency exchange. I had to exchange some dollars into yen. So I made sure that I had money because, again, if you don't have money, you will get stranded. I would have been able to get a currency exchange because, as I said before, I did a lot of research ahead of time and I kind of mapped out the airport. I already knew where the currency exchange was, but I didn't have to worry as much of getting lost in the airport because I would have had my pocket Wi-Fi and I would have had internet. So I would have been a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more confident in getting money and then getting from the express to the station from the airport and from the station to the airport to the station that was close to my hotel. And my hotel would have been within a 5-minute walk from the station, and I would have been able to walk from that station straight to my hotel. And my hotel was the Grand Park Hotel Panax Tokyo. The pictures looked really nice. I got this on Expedia. My plane tickets from Toronto to Tokyo I got from Expedia as well. If I had gotten to my hotel, I was ready to actually just sleep because, I put into consideration I was going to be like, it was going to be almost, when it's night there, it's daytime here. So it was like almost a 12-hour difference basically. But it wouldn't have mattered because I would have been in Japan. I didn't have a specific plan for the first couple of days while I was in Tokyo. I was planning on just going to some cafes and doing some light research on places I should see by myself. But on the third day, I had a free tour guide. Yes, a free tour guide. She's from a company called Tokyo Free Guide. Their company's legit called TFG. I will link them down in the description, so please check the description. I will be linking all of the places I mentioned here in the description box below. TFG is a company that provides free tour guides for a half a day or a whole day, depending on your group and whatever you request. And these people are volunteers, so it's completely free. You don't have to pay any guide fees or anything like that. The only catch is that you pay for their entry fees and for the food and transportation that you guys are taking during this tour of the city. So they can accommodate between 1 to 6 people, and they normally do, as I said before, a half a day or full day. But if you want several days, you would have to request this well in advance. And it's not all of the requests that they meet. They were able to meet about 60% of their requests as of 2018. So they're doing a lot better. I was just lucky to get someone who was available during the time that I was going to be there, and I was really happy. She was really nice, and she had planned out our entire day, and I will kind of just go over what she had planned for us for that day. We had a lot of back and forth, but I made sure to let her know like just a little bit about me and what I was looking for my trip and how I was planning for it to go. So she was going to luckily pick me up at my hotel, that I was so excited about. She was going to take me to the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Office, which has great views, and it was free. And then she was going to take me to one of the national gardens. We would have also been able to eat. She planned for us to eat while we were out, and she also was going to take me to one of the shrines, and she let me know how much things were, just so I would be prepared to pay for both of us when the time would have come. So that was basically it. And she also let me know some great hot springs, because it was something that I was really interested in if I had actually gone on that trip. And then coming back, it would have been just the same thing. I would have walked to the nearby train station to take me to the airport train station and take an express car to the airport, to the correct terminal, and I would have returned my pocket Wi-Fi and probably exchange any money that I hadn't spent. I normally like to keep a couple coins of the currency that I'm coming from, so I probably would have had a little of that. But yeah, so that would have been my trip, and I would have just had to do the same thing in Canada, but I decided not to go on this trip. Why? I decided not to go because I thought I was gonna get kidnapped and sold into sex trafficking. And it doesn't mean that Japan is a dangerous place. Believe me, it's not. I just got into my own head. My family got into my head. Even my old boss got into my head, and she was making fun of me about like Taken, and like I was just like, ah. So the night before I was supposed to leave for this trip, I ended up canceling it. And you know what? I would have done it again if things were the same. I would have probably have waited to get tickets, because if I had waited, I would have found the same flight but from Detroit, and that would have lifted a lot of anxiety off of my chest, because one of the things that kept like ticking in my head was that I was gonna get lost, and one of my biggest fears is getting lost in a foreign country. I can't get lost in a foreign country. It's not my portion. But that's why I canceled. I know it seems ridiculous, and it would have been a great story to tell, because it's not every day that you get to go to Japan. and I missed out on that opportunity, but at the same time, I just wasn't comfortable going on that kind of trip with those many complications by myself. Trust me, Japan is a very safe place. I looked it up. It's like one of the safest places for women to go to by themselves. Like, I don't remember the exact statistics of like their crime rate, but it's extremely low, like less than 5% or something like that. And that was at the time, and this was back in 2017. So I don't know if it's changed, but yeah, the crime rate was really low. I knew I would have been safe, but there was something in my head that was like, Adana, if you go on this trip, you're gonna get kidnapped and sold into sex trafficking. And I'm like, I can't get kidnapped. I wouldn't last. I wouldn't last. I genuinely just wouldn't last. I would have killed somebody. I don't know. I don't know. And it's hard. And my family was terrified for me. And their lack of confidence also contributed in my being so terrified of this trip. If they were a little bit more comfortable, I probably would have been more comfortable. But it was probably because of my own lack of confidence that they were uncomfortable with me going by myself. And mind you, I'm a grown woman, and I was a grown woman when I bought those tickets. But I still lived with my immediate family. I wasn't married at that time. I didn't have children at that time. So I didn't have anything to really worry about, but my family was just like, dear goodness. And mind you, let me just say this. It's very common for a woman that's not married in the Nigerian culture to live in their family house. A lot of West African cultures actually practice this. So yeah, I wasn't bothered by it. A lot of people thought it was strange that I was like 25 and still living at home, but I didn't care. It wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't that odd, especially my community wasn't that odd. But yeah, so let's go through how much this trip would have really cost me. So I'm going to just let you guys know and where I'm getting all of these things from and how much everything costs. So my flight, I booked a Delta flight from Toronto to Tokyo for $452, and I booked it through Expedia because I get points on Expedia, and that kind of purchase just increases my points, and then I get gold status and I'm balling up, but not really. It was just easier to do it like that. Then I would have taken a bus bud, that's the name of the company. A bus bud would have been $101 round trip from Windsor to Toronto. I would have taken an Uber, which would have cost me about $40 both ways, so around $80. And then my pocket Wi-Fi, which was from Ninja Wi-Fi, and that would have cost me around 900 yen, which would have been around $9 a day. I would have done it for maybe 4 or 5 days and would have come out to roughly $36. So the public transportation, specifically the NRT Express, would have cost me around 3,120 yen, which comes out to be roughly $31. So if you multiply that by 2, because I need to come back to the airport at the end, it would have been $62 round trip. All right. The hotel would have been $88 a night, which would have come out to $352 total. So, and the tour was free. Everything else, I can't speculate what I would have bought or where else I would have gone. So this is basically only prices based off of what I knew I was gonna do. The total ended up being this much. So it's not as much as you would think. It's more than I anticipated, because normally I like to be a little under $1,000, and this is just a bit above $1,000. But you know what? It's okay. You live and you learn. I hope you really enjoyed this travel talk, and I hope I was able to bring to your attention some tips and tricks on getting some great deals on your next vacation. I know we're not able to travel at this time, but when we are, you will be ready. If you really enjoyed this content where I talk about how I save so much money on my trips, please let me know by liking this video, leaving a comment below letting me know that you like this video, and if you don't, please let me know what I can do to make it better. All right, bye and have a wonderful day.